This documentary follows the journey of one man. Jack Smith, whose life was forever changed by Kratom. Through his journey, we'll explore the science behind Kratom, hear the stories of those it has helped, and witnessed the challenges faced by those fighting to keep Kratom accessible to all.
Hi, my name is Jack Smith, CEO of Life of Kratom. I had a friend of mine, it happened to be in Indonesia at the time, and he called me and he says, Jack, I know you don't want to be on any kind of pharmaceutical drugs, but there's this stuff called Kratom, Mitragynia speciosa, and it helps with pain, helps anxiety, and they said it get people off heroin and antidepressants, all this. So he sent it to me, and it was probably a week and a half, 2 weeks, and I got it. I was actually in my kitchen at the time, and I remember just standing there, just like, I want to see. I was that guy, I did all the research first, oh my God, it's terrible, and all the things that, that's been lied to it about it, so I don't want to bring anybody into this thing, and I ended up, it was the first time I felt like my shoulders breaking my neck. It was always like my shoulders were tied to my ears, and it was relaxed. I actually felt like blood running into my right arm because it used to go numb all the time, and I was totally amazed. I actually teared up, and I was just. But the crazy part, at the same exact time while this is happening to my experience that I had came to me. Like, it popped up. Like, this was supposed to happen, and it was told to me before. Now I'm really freaking out. So I says, everything was just flooding me what to do. I'm going to go get a store, blah, blah, blah. I'm just riding off my tails right now, but I knew I wanted to help people. I knew going through an addiction that especially what I did and everything I went through, I wanted to help people. Used to be everything was about myself, and that's a typical race car driver, because you have to be that way. You have to be so focused, so driven, so hard, and they make you this to get where you need to be. And I ended up I just knew 100% this is what I want to do, to help people. So as you find out your true friends in life when you're going through something super hard. Friends that you thought got my back through thick and thin were never even there. There was only certain people, which I would never believe, that actually were there for me. But the part that really got me was the amount of people hooked on pharmaceutical drugs, like NASCAR drivers, and I help professional athletes and movie stars. Like, it's incredible the amount of people, what I went through, that called me and say, hey Jack, I'm having this issue. And I was dumbfounded, because I knew the opiate problem was big, but I didn't realize how many people were touched by this, that you'd never think. Just like people thought, oh Jack, no way, that wasn't you. You know what I'm saying? I was that guy. Okay, so Big Pharma runs the country. They run everything. Everybody knows this, is around. I could sit here for hours and tell you all the things I went around with Big Pharma. I'm not going to sit here and badmouth them and all. There's certain things for different pharmaceutical drugs that people need. I truly believe that. But I think pharmaceutical drugs are giving out way too much than what they should be doing. They knew the epidemic was it all came out when all the Oxycontin, Purdue, all that stuff came out. Everybody's seen it. But this is the greatest part. Since 2020, since COVID, that it has shed such a light on how much Big Pharma is controlled and corrupted everything, that now what the fastest growing industry there is right now is a holistic industry. That is the greatest part that I love the most, because people were seeing, hey, maybe I don't need these things. God put everything on this planet for us. Every plant, stuff that we hadn't even realized what yet. They're going to cure these cancers and all this stuff. So we're in it. We're in the beginning of the stages of living in a world. The holistic industry is coming super, super fast. I'm going into my next business and called Breath of Life, to teach people how to breathe. And that'll be another story, another time. But we're there. It's pretty cool. The cold plunges. I do the cold plunge. Everything now is about fitness and eating good and making my family good, and we're there. I mean, you're seeing that cusp of the pharmaceuticals, as it's had so much light on them to see what they've done. People see now, hey, we have everything God give us right here. Why don't we try to take this? And look what's going on. They biohacking, that's the new name for all this, you know what I'm saying? So, yep. The science behind kratom now. When I was on they put me on Suboxone in rehab. That's the typical go-to. I thought, wow, this is really helping me after I got through my withdrawals in rehab. I'm like, wow, okay, this is better. I'm not thinking about the opiates, you know what I'm saying? And pain was still there. I didn't realize I was in for a worse of a ride than being on the pain pills, because it's worse of an addiction because it gets in your bones. And one day, I actually get reinstated back into NASCAR, and Kansas was my first race back. I leave without anything. I'm like, I'm good. I'm off the opiates, everything. I go through practice, middle of the night. I'm freaking out. Like, what is going on in my body? I'm going through withdrawals, like super, super bad. And I call Betsy and say, hey, this is what's going on with me, and something's wrong. She says, you're withdrawing bad. But it was twice as bad of a withdrawal than the opiates were. And I was just like, I don't know if I can do this. So anyways, she brought the Suboxone in, cured me right up. I was so upset at that point, because I'm like, wow, I thought, okay, I have this beat, pharmaceuticals, doctor give me something that gets me off opiates, but they cause a worse of a problem than the opiates did. And I was so mad, got through the whole weekend, and I told Betsy, I said, well, I'd rather be on the opiates than I would this, just because of the fact that it hurts worse, to come on. So I didn't start at the time. Anyways, got in trouble with my test, my urine test with NASCAR, and got suspended. Yeah, my dad and my stepfather, they all raced, and been into racing forever. And it was just in my blood from the get-go. From the time I ride a bicycle, I just wanted to be this race car driver. I was really good at sports and wrestling and football, but racing was always driven in me, and I got my first race car. I was 15, and I just knew, this is it. And I had my aunt and my uncles, asked me to come up here and drive, so to Ohio from Florida, because I grew up in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Davie, Florida, and came up here and just started racing short tracks and moving my way up. And everybody told you, hey, you have to go to North Carolina, South Carolina to be in, make it in there. And went down there. I was a fabricator. Put bodies on, all sorts of race cars, cup bodies, trucks, late models, and everything, and built short track cars. And but I knew I wasn't getting a lot of driving time, and I had somebody I had really highly respect as a NASCAR crew chief, and said, hey, I want to drive. And they said, well, in order to drive, go back home, get in a series like ASA or something like that, and then just focus on that. And that's what I did. I come back up here. My son Cody, at the time born, I didn't want to be away from him. You know what I'm saying? So just started raking short track and really, doing really good. 2004, I met a guy named Greg Irvine, and he owns a place called UB Machine. And we got to talk, and I was actually driving for another team, and I won an ASA late model race on. He's like, you need to come drive for me. And we've been together ever since. I call my dad just because he's taught me just not only everything about racing is just like on a personal. He was there when I went through my problems. He paid me when I got in trouble. It's like there were so many things that he showed me throughout the time, and made me who I was, and then anytime I had like, hey, I'm going to go to NASCAR, I felt so bad because I'm like, who's going to have drive for him, and just like, but I knew I could still do both of them and still run NASCAR, but I knew if I got if I got Cup, it was going to be harder to do that kind of racing. But me and Greg had so much success together in ASA, and, we were just, it's funny because we were just talking about this yesterday. I talk to him all the time, and he's helping another driver right now, and the struggles. But anyways, Greg means the world to me. He truly does. There's nothing in the world I wouldn't do for that guy. I wouldn't be where I'm sitting today without him. But more than anything he was a friend when I needed it. Never got me down, went to jail. Like, he was always there for me. When I got out, he was there for me. So I got with Greg, and my agent said, hey, I might have a truck ride for you, NASCAR truck ride. And I went and met Mike Mittler, someone else that was really, it gave me an opportunity. And he was known for giving Carl Edwards, Brad Keselowski, so many race car drivers a first opportunity in NASCAR. And so that was 2007. Mansfield was my home track, short track race. And, and I'll never forget the day, because, you work your whole life for that moment, and to have my kids there and to go through that. And then me and Mike, had a little success off there, and Mike was a low budget team. And I ended up, he just kept putting me in. But when I got in trouble, I seen the impact that I made on him and his race team, just the public in general. When you go through an addiction, what people don't understand is, I thought, hey, this is me. I'm going through addiction. I was not realizing who I affected in my life. My kids went through the public eye because of this. They got in, altercations in school because they seen dad on TV, what I went through. And when after you get through the addiction, you stop and you realize the impact you made on so many people. It's not about yourself, so that's why it's so important to have people there that, your true friends, your true family, to get through these kind of things. And now my relationship with my kids it's unbelievable. I missed a lot of their lives because I was so focused on my racing. But I knew, okay, if I get here, I can make their lives a better life, not realizing that I missed a lot of their lives, what I'm saying, when they needed me. And not only to do that, going through an addiction at that time, so nobody knew. My fiance never knew, had not a clue. Like, nobody knew. When I got in trouble, it was a surprise to the whole world. You know what I'm saying? I won it off. I did. One day, it was about 6 months in, I went to Betsy and I said, hey, I'm taking a lot of these things, and why? She goes, holy smokes. At the time, it was like 6 to 10 a day, so she said, well, let's make a doctor's appointment. Went to the doctor's. First time she kind of see how bad my neck was, and said that the doctor said he'll be on something the rest of his life. He has nerve problems, you better be very careful, because this could get a lot worse. If you get in an accident, paralyzed, blah, blah, blah. But I knew nothing else. This was my life, That's how, committed you are. And the time I left there, That was another 120 more than I was getting. So that was 360 from one doctor. And it was just like, it was on. Well, at the time, I truly didn't know we had an opiate problem. I didn't know this was a thing. I was so focused on my life and everything going on until I went through this opiate thing and I was that person. Well, I'm not hanging around this alcoholic. I'm not hanging around this drug. I just quit. You want to quit? Quit. People don't even have a clue how hard it is, to get off of these things. And now we have something that stops withdrawals, gets these people through the hardest part of the whole process. We have it. And I can't even talk about it because not a doctor, big pharma stops all these things that we can tell people do. And like I said, this industry is a 16th of what it truly is going to do for this country, for this world, because there's so many people. I have people in Russia, I have people in Australia that order Kratom from me because they know how good my Kratom is, and how pure it is. So, yeah. No, I appreciate that. My kids are my best friends. Sometimes it's hard to be a dad, because we're such good friends. But I created that. I didn't want to be. I knew so many people that had kids that their kids couldn't talk to them, that they would come talk to me, how to get through things, and that it made me realize, like, so not only that I went through this horrifying thing and to put them through everything, it meant more to me to make sure I was close to them and get them to understand it was them that got me through it. I wasn't, even when it got hard or talk about relapse or something like that, like it was them. It was their pictures, their drive, everything's gonna be okay, Dad. You know what I'm saying? Because I wanted to go back to being my hero, being their hero. You know what I'm saying? And they were my hero, through the whole thing. So we do everything together. Like my oldest son's getting ready to get married, and it's just mind boggling. I became a grandpa. Like I don't even feel that old. I feel better shape than I have when I was in school. But to see how close we are, and it means a lot to say that because a lot of people don't. Everybody, social media, everything has gotten families so far, so left, so right. And I told people all the time, you want to change your life? Turn the phone off. Get away from it. Just go find you. Look within yourself. Everything's within ourselves. God made everything if we just stop and do it. We're all made just like each other. And I used to tell my kids all the time, hey, I know you're going through a hard time with this right now, with everything in the media, but every family has problems. Every family, I don't care what it is, it's just a different problem. And the part that pretty cool is I want to see more people like my family, hey, we can all get along. We may have differences. And it used to be that way. Left, right, Democrat, Republican, and all this. Now we can't even talk to each other, and the most important thing in my whole life is my family. And, I always tell people I'm not afraid to die because I'm too nosy. And I want to, be around for my kids. I want to see them grow older. I want to see them, trust me, they're still a pain in the butt, and they're going to be kids and they already know everything, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, you guys have not a clue and know anything. So all I can do now, I used to get really upset about it. Now all I try to do is teach them. Like, hey, this is what you need to do. And they'll learn, when we were young, we knew more stuff than our parents knew. So it's funny how it all, comes around and becomes this, so I have to be a role model for them, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just blessed enough to have a company that's doing so well that my kids get to be a part of my thing. That's the ending of the story anyways with my NASCAR. I knew if I took a little time away from not realizing how bad that was at a young age, I can get here, I can make their lives so much better. And I tell people all the time, it's one of my biggest regrets I've ever been through in my life. I missed the times they needed me, So, but it's perfect now. I couldn't ask for anything better. I really can't. Just every day. There's not a day that don't go by I don't talk to them. Yeah, like I mentioned a little bit, is people shouldn't be scared, because they're going through something dark. And social media has done this too. Like, oh my God, that guy has millions of dollars. He has everything. He has no problems. The man has problems. You don't even realize he has problems. But people that are stuck in addictions and all type addictions, all the people I've helped, famous people, um, I've never would do that to somebody. So I told people, just come forward, like call me anytime. It's easy to get a hold of me, and I would love to help you, to get through these things. And the people that I've helped, I've never in my lifetime ever would think they had an issue, just like myself. You hide it so good, and but what I realized through my addiction was what I was hiding. We all go through stuff as younger or even an adult, and I seen what the pain pills did. Numb me to be able to be a race car driver, to be a marketing person, to be a people person, to be a dad, husband. It's just it, it it's okay for people just to come out. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to reach out and say, hey, I got an issue, because I would never say anything about it. Yeah, I've always looked at it. People were like, "Oh, write a book," or Jack, you could do a movie on your childhood and what you came up, and and everything. But I wasn't that guy that was a race car driver, and oh my God, the money in NASCAR and being famous and all this. That was never my deal. All I wanted to do was drive a race car. But when you get to NASCAR, like, that's a small part of it. Everything's about marketing, and everything's about what people can get, this part of you, that a part of you. I just want to drive a race car, but I knew everything that went with it. I had to physically fit, I had to be good at speaking, good, everything that went along with it. But I've never been a person like, oh, I got to leave my mark on this world or this life. This not me. I was so driven on what I wanted to do. It means the world to me to own a company that my kids run now. And but when I stepped back and I looked, they live off my shirt tail. Like, oh, this thing was built on your dad being a NASCAR driver and everything. The part that I want people to understand is, it's getting me a little upset, but is it's a bigger impact on my kids, because I lived through what I lived through in the public eye and everything, and as hard as it was, but to see what it did to them and the effect it has on families, that's the people that don't see these kind of things. Now I go from being a superhero to your kids, to feeling like a disappointment, in it. To now, I tell, like I do, talking to interviews and stuff, I tell people I love what I did in the company I started, but my kids can tell the whole different story of it. They lived through all this stuff, and I'm just a small part of it. I really am. The legacy to me is them, to take it to that next stop, and I loved, how I started the company on it. But when I talk about it, or I speak on it somewhere, and I look over at my kids, they're the ones that are going to take this to a new height. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And they sell it. Mine was just a very small part of this, that created this. And it was just a path that God put me in. and started this great thing. But I don't want it to be about me, you know, because it's farthest thing. It's about me. It's about my family, and you know, putting Betsy and my kids and my aunts, my uncles, um, everybody. You know what I'm saying? It was just, yeah. So it's, I don't really look at it as wanting to leave a legacy. It'd be pretty cool, maybe to write a book or to do something like that. But all I want to do now is give the gift to people that God given me. You know, for me to have to bring this into my life, and said, wow, we can do this easily and happily, and we have something that'll just, we have the cure. You know, it's just getting it out there and being allowed to say certain things, to make this, make it grow faster. You know what I'm saying? So.
All right, my name is Chase Smith, and I'm a owner of Life of Kratom.
Name's Cody Smith. Um, Owner and operator of Life of Kratom in Marion, Ohio.
When he got out of rehab, and then he started, he found it. One of his buddies actually got a hold of him and was like, "Hey man, you need to try this." And my dad was like, "What is it?" And then he explained it to him, and he was like, "Whoa!" And so he tried it, and then probably like 2016, 17, around there is when he started using it, and then started the company in 2018.
We were out racing, and one of his buddies brought him some kratom and just told him to try it. And so he took it, went out racing, and came back and felt amazing. And ever since that, we've just been fascinated on what it was, and so we just did research on it, and now we're here. So, yep.
I tried it for the first time probably in like 2020, somewhere around there, and then I like it because it's a natural feeling, not like energy drinks where it makes your heart rate and stuff go up and you get the jitters. It just feels natural, clean, and I like that feeling.
Right off the bat, I was kind of skeptical about it because I didn't know like exactly what it was. And knowing his past and like going Suboxone and stuff like that, I was like, it's just another drug. But then, he sat down, showed me research on it. I did my own research, and come to find out, it's just a leaf ground up into a powder, and it's like there ain't no harm in that. I mean, yeah. So
I've never had to deal with any like FDA stuff like that, but the first time I ever came down here and saw one of his stores, he was like, just sit in here for like an hour and just hear these customers' stories and stuff. And I was like, all right, because I was like, Dad, you're a race car driver. Like, what is this stuff, man? And he's like, Chase, trust me. So I'm like, all right. So I sat in his store for like probably like 2 hours, something like that. And this one customer came in, and he was like 28, 29, somewhere around there. And he started talking to my dad and everything. And then my dad was like, hey, I want you to talk to my son. And he started talking to me. And he was like, my dad was like, tell him your story and stuff. And the kid started using heroin at 17 years old. He got hooked on it. He did it for 10 years straight, something like that, somewhere 10, something like that. And found kratom, found my dad, and my dad's helped him get clean off of it. And he just wanted to say thank you to my dad for helping him get off, because he was going down a bad path. And then that kind of hit me, and I was like, yo, this is crazy.
besides me taking too much and laying out in the gym, like, yeah, it gives you the eye wobbles. So it's hard to stare in one spot. So, like, me being the, one scoop of pre-workout's great, two's even better. Went down that road of the same thing as Kratom, and that's not how it works. So I was in the gym, and I'm just, like, laying on the floor, like, oh, my God. But, yeah, I mean, in store, there's not so much, like, funny stories. There's a lot of good stories, like seeing people go from full-blown heroin addicts to now, we have a customer that he has full custody of his kids now, has a full-time job. I mean, this dude was probably about damn near homeless, living on the side of the street, and I mean, he's never even thought about touching heroin ever again in his life. So it's cool seeing, like, the whole 180 life change. And
Pre-workout, normal pre-workout has about 300 milligrams of caffeine in it. And what caffeine does, it like cuts the blood circulation off, so it pumps your heart faster, tries to pump blood faster. Kratom doesn't do that. It literally just gives you a natural energy feeling, like I want to go, I want to do something, I need to get some stuff done. And you just feel like, ever since I started taking Kratom for pre-workout, I feel like my workouts have been 10 times better, just because I feel more focused, of like the focus side of Kratom and the energy side of the Kratom. Like, I just love it, and I don't feel like all jitteriness and like kind of like a crackhead. I don't feel like that.
I promise you, it's gonna be the greatest thing you've ever tried. Like, I mean, I was the same way. I'm like, why take Kratom when I have pre-workout? It's stuff like that. Everybody has an excuse for everything. So it's people like that that's very hard to kind of push, but I mean, just gotta do it. Because I promise you, you never look back. Like, I've never had anybody look back and say they wish they never did this. So it's just, yeah, just try it.
I wouldn't say it impacted us. Like, I mean, it's made us closer, just because I work with him now with the business and stuff. But I mean, it's definitely better than him using pain pills, and I will 100% stand by that. And I just feel like our relationship's better since he's been clean off the pain pills.
I mean, it's been a challenge. The biggest challenge is just having, like, new customers come in here and looking at it as the wrong thing. Because, I mean, you read any article out there, I mean, all it does is talk bad about it. It's, Kratom can kill you. It's just another form of an opioid. Like, it's all wrong. I mean, it's just, big pharma or the FDA writing stuff because they can. So then I have customers that come in here, and I have to break it down to them on, like, what it is, where it comes from, like, how we better from other places because we get it from a certain place that, like, actually takes the process of doing it the clean way, not like letting it lay in a swamp for a year and then they pick it up, dry it out, and then they resell it. Like, I don't deal with that stuff. So it's like opening people's mind is the hardest thing. Just telling them, why it's good for you. And, so yeah, that's just the hard part about it.
I feel like we'll be all right, just because we have so many people backing us, and all the, like, research that has been done on it, and just people, the community of Kratom, and how much it's helped people. I think we'll be just fine with it. If the FDA ever tries something, I think we'll be fine.
I mean, it's one of the greatest things in the world because, like, as we grow, we can say we grew as a family. Because, like, if we open up another store, it's not just, like, me trying to go to that store and build it. I have to rely off my brother, Jake, my dad. Like, everybody has to be a team. So it's like Life of Kratom wouldn't be Life of Kratom without all of us. So, I mean, it's got its ups and downs, more so ups. I mean, it's how it has to be. So, but yeah, it has its challenging times.
This is the thing that I try to teach people. Unfortunately, they're sold in head shops and all this, and kratom should be regulated. And I've always said, I've always tried to work with the FDA, the state, and say, listen, we do need this. It is such, it's going to help so many people, but it's a wild, wild west. And people knew 80% of the kratom that come to U.S. Probably what you don't want to take, so you want to make sure you get to like GMP. You want to get people that are testing, and every batch we have is tested. I have the testing, and I always tell people all the time, if you ever want to see the testing, here you go. And even the state, they've tested, and they send their secret Santas in all the time, and they've always said to me, Jack, your kratom is so clean, it's so pure. And that's what I pride myself on this company, to being this way, because I knew if we're going to make such a big impact, we're going to have good kratom. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm not a big I'm not a big guy on extracts, because I feel like all the true stuff on kratom is coming out. How good it is for you, and what it does and what it helps, and it's like the pain pills taking the opiate out of it, and a lot of people, I'm going to get a lot of flack over this, but we try to tell people we have it, but we tell you, hey, you're going to have a problem with this, and that's what I'm trying to stay away from. We're not trying to start another epidemic or something bad. We have this God-given gift that is getting people off. And that's the amazing part about this whole thing. I've told the states this, the governors this. I says, just come sit in our store for a few days. Your whole mind will change on how great this product is, because we see the whole story. People come in and you hear that, oh, it got me off of opiates. But when you see somebody come in and they're so frail, so beat up, so broke down, pale, sick as a dog, and I give them some kratom, they come back week after week. I wish I could take a time lapse of so many people, hundreds, thousands of people this have happened. Now they're coming in, they're smiling again, they've got their life back. And I have a customer, when I first started the store, I was about 6 months in. Around Christmas time, she come in, and she got so broke down. She got in a car accident, high-end job, got put on pain pills, broke her down so much, she lost her marriage, lost her kids, and prostituted herself out. To see somebody so broken, and but when they come in your store and say, hey, this is who saved your mom's life, that really got me. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't do nothing. I just feel like God put me in this path, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, knowing nothing about it. So, but I still talk to her this day, and she's back to, it's incredible how her life's changed. Husband came back, kids, I see her mom and dad, you know what I'm saying? Like, we see these stories that anybody can come sit in here and watch, because it change your mind. You'd have to be a cold-hearted person to not see how profound what kratom is doing for this country. You know what I'm saying? Social media's caused it. All these kids, look, I gotta have this, I gotta have, Lamborghinis and all these great things. It's not reality. I told people so what, you have money. When I was into the money, like it meant nothing. Like, so what? After you're done buying everything you want to buy, what are you gonna have there? And somebody told me this when I was going through my addiction. If you don't start loving somebody else, loving the people that are around you, you're going to be a very lonely person on that porch all by yourself. And that was a huge impact when she told me this. And I was just like, and realized, wow, I am going to be lonely. We can have all this money in the world and all these things, But if you don't have friends, you don't have loved ones, true friends, you know, when I made racing, I had to be as hard as I was, it was just, this, they put you up on a pedestal, and treat, it wasn't really me, that I really wanted to be the me now. People now have been around my racing. They're like, Jack, you're just so different. Like, you're so different. You were so hard. And, everything was racing. I crashed my mom to win a race. It was just the way I was. I built myself. And then when you're put into that role, that's what you're supposed to do. Now, nothing is about me anymore. Nothing at all. Everything's about my kids. Everything's about the business. And more than anything is just helping people. We have such a bad problem in this country with the opiate and all other pharmaceutical drugs, but so many other health problems that God put everything here for us to take. We just need to find it and get back to our roots. And people, if people really understood, like, we can all come together and stop all this stuff out there. You just got to come together. We control it all. But social media is the one that keeps everybody separated from it, So I see a big change around on it, though. You know what I'm saying? Just like the holistic industry, I see the same thing with people coming together. They've been lied to so much. They're like, they don't know what to believe, left or right. That was just, people see this now. More and more people, we all think alike. And stop one time and just realize this. God's in every one of us. You know what's right. You know what's wrong. Just, even as a little kid, I knew I shouldn't put my hand in that light socket, but let's go see what we can do. You know what I'm saying? So we just need to come together, and this industry is that way. I see it. It's crazy. Well, what I try to do every single day. I always tell people, what you see is what you get. I'm not pulling any punches with you. Some people, oh, you're really harsh. It's not harsh. This is the problem. Everybody is candy-assed around and say, oh, you should do this, or, we should get a participation trophy or whatever it is. It's like, this is crazy. Like, it's nuts. I'm going to tell you how it is. If you don't like it, it's not that I don't want to be around you. I'm just going to tell you how it is straight up in my thing. I'm not going to step on whatever your beliefs are. Just don't come ask me or try to get me to do something that I'm not going to do, so.
Mutual respect.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been missing for a very, very, very
yep,
long time.
For sure.
And
that handshake and looking you in your eye, like my dad, taught me, like, you look at a man in his eye, like, people can't even look at each other in the eye, just smile at each other. But I try to, every day, to make people smile. Every single day. And I see all the pain, and going through what I went through, I could feel the pain in all these people. And I just try to, like, hey, everything's going to be okay. Just smile, and that's what got me into the breath work. And, like, wow, we're just on a cusp of something beautiful, man. It really is. It's pretty cool.